Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Empire Life podcast. I am your host, Allison Ramsey with Empire Life, where we scale online empires for female founders. And today we are with Sandy and Alex Rueve. They are the founders of Intention Beads, and they are also astrologers and do handmade talismans. And I will hand it over to them to intro themselves a little bit more.
Hi, I'm Sandy Rueve. I'm the mom, and I am the astrologer. And I watch the cosmic energy that is constantly around us, revolving. And when I see some beautiful, auspicious transits, when the planets are moving in alignment to each other, particularly the moon, then I make clay bead talismans. I'm a millefiori artist. I've been doing millefiori art since Michael Jordan asked me to back in the 90s when I was part of the medical team for the Bulls. And I know we've all been watching The Last Dance. I'm actually in that movie, funny. But I've been a millefiori artist and built a pretty big company from my basement back in the 90s. But now I have transitioned from that into just my daughter and I in a new company called Intention Beads. So using the astrology of the sky to make clay beads that turn this into talisman.
And I'll take that as a baton. And I'm Alex Rueve. I'm Sandy Rueve's daughter and also co-business owner of Intention Beads. Basically what I do here is I help bring the stars down. I reel them down to the earth for everyone to use in a practical way. So when we host podcasts, we do retreats, we hand make talismans, we basically just help people understand. We act as a bridge of people who are kind of interested in astrology to learn much more about what it is and how we can use it. So glad to have you all here on the podcast.
You know, Allison, I'm so happy that, you know, when I looked at your chart and we did a little bit of a review of that, you really have what it takes to help women by looking at your astrology. So, you know, I can validate and therefore maybe motivate you on your path because this is exactly what you should be doing. You know, we had you on our podcast yesterday, and there's just so many things that we can attest to in our life that is happening at the same time of us in astrology. You know, in our natal astrology that, you know, blends so well. And if we use the energy and we use it correctly, you know, there are times to move forward and there are times to hold back, right? There's times to readjust. There's times to pause and there's times to grab the fruit.
Right. And the grabbing of the fruit is basically the talismans that Sandy makes. She will use your astrological chart in order to choose the most, you know, fruitful time where you can be in meditation, and she's hand making your beads all sculpted out of clay. So this is not, you know, just like she's stringing the beads and putting them on, you know, a piece of jewelry. This is creating the beads from different colors of clay. And it's very unique. Not a lot of people do what we do. And
let's say no one.
Yeah, no one does what we do. And especially the astrology, you know, component in there, because it's so personalized that you are the only one in that moment that's like kind of being blessed by all of the stars and the planets. And Sandy will write you this whole like page long explanation of why she chose that time for you, so that you can be really reflecting on this new path that you're taking on. What is this intention that you're setting in this moment? Because that is so important, because we need to, you know, we're kind of bottling it with the beads, but you also need to be the talisman wearer, the intention holder from there on. So you're kind of charting your path and giving yourself this energy.
Well said.
Yeah, I love it. Thank
Thanks.
you. Thank you for thank you for diving deep with us into that. And what I'm hearing, to rephrase to make sure I understand correctly, it's like this potent amount of energy of when the stars are aligned and bringing the stars down to the practical use. It also taking this energy, harnessing it, and understanding, then I'm accountable for this. I am the creator of my own destiny, in a sense, as I'm wearing this. And I get a choice. I get to choose me and the path that I want to create, and with all of this energy and all the springing forward.
And that spring forward is so crucial, because not only are you kind of creating this wonderful rite of passage for yourself, you're signing the permission slip. And usually the one that needs permission, that needs to give permission, is us. But we look for it in so many other places. Somebody tell me that I'm worthy. Somebody tell me that I can do this. But sometimes we just need to hear it from ourselves. And this moment that you're sitting there in this, like, you know, cosmic time that's chosen for you, it's all the planets, the universe, God, Gus, spirit, all of that is giving you the permission. And the only one that will be criticizing you in that moment would be yourself. So that's where you need to, you know, take the step over that, hurdle that, and move on.
Well, that's when we can kind of create our empire, right? That we can say what it is, right? We don't have to be reflective of creating or copycatting or doing what other people do. We need to come from our hearts, our soul, and our skill sets and our talents, right? We have to come from the heart, because if we align with what our heartfelt message is for this lifetime. Now, I believe in multiple lifetimes. And if we have a purpose, and we do, that's why we came down here to Earth, is what I believe. I believe in reincarnation. You don't have to. But you know that one of my biggest questions is what is my purpose? What is and you know, this lady's 60 years old. We have one purpose, but we can do many things to align to that one purpose. And there should be no fear, there is, on what it is. But I've always said to my clients, or whoever I'm speaking to, I'm speaking to you right now, that the minute you're here, you're on your purpose. You may segue off the highway and something might occur in that period, but you know, the reality is that your purpose, the exit, or is it to enter back onto the highway of your purpose? And the thing about, oh man, you had said something, Alex, I wanted to piggyback on. So I'll just stop talking for a minute. And you'll stop.
It feels like even with our birth stories, we start out, like if I look at my birth story, and I came out screaming. I was a very loud voice for a very long time. And my daughter, her birth story, she was very peaceful. I thought that all babies cried like that. Like I cried. I expected her to come out screaming. I have this loud voice, and I'm all red because I'm not going to stop screaming until everybody listens to me. And she was very peaceful, and then she even started sucking her thumb, which I didn't even know was capable for babies when they were first born. And a part of her mission, most likely, is to bring more harmony, more peace, more togetherness, collaboration, and even reflecting on our birth stories and how we came into the world, and how I impacted my parents with being really sensitive to the environment, and them needing to kind of like reassess their own lives and what they were doing, look at themselves. not necessarily to bring a lot of harmony and peace, more so it's
Bring change. You're a change.
Bring change. Yeah. It's fascinating to even go back to that, and also how our birth stories or how we came into the world, also like letting go of those, or that chapter like you were talking about with yesterday. Now there's different chapters, and I find that super fascinating. And I did want to maneuver a little bit and dive into getting to know you guys more on a personal level, and how a lot of times I believe, and like you said, Sandy, I don't know if all of you guys believe this, but I personally believe a lot of the transgressions and transformations we go through when we are expanding our own containers, personally, emotionally, and in every aspect, to then be able to hold that space for all of the money to come in, for abundance, for people to feel completely accepted and loved in our presence. We personally go through a lot of transformations as we, and business, having a business, being a founder, I feel like is the perfect recipe for catapulting those transformations. And everybody that I have on the podcast, of these incredible, you guys, incredible people, there are definitely challenges and pivots, and I would love to hear a few of those when you feel comfortable, are the first ones to come to mind, if you feel comfortable to share those with us.
I mean, pivots for sure. You know, when I started my career, I was in the medical world, and I had patients and an employer. And then I moved as an entrepreneur, as I mentioned, when Michael Jordan asked me to make him beads. Then I thought, oh, I'm going to be a bead maker. And I became my own entrepreneur, built my own company in the basement while I was raising 2 children. One is Alex here. She became like a partner at age 7. So I don't know if that was child labor, but she did get paid. She did get paid. But then I became, and then I had employees and I had customers. And then I had a Pluto transit. And Pluto, and we talked about Pluto in the astrology world. We talked a little bit about when you had a Pluto transit, Allison. But I had a Pluto transit when I was older. And it changed my circumstances. It changed my will, or my determination against my will. And situations were occurring that were not within my grasp. I did not create them, nor did I choose them. And I went through a dark period, which is called the transformational period. And this is a Pluto transit. Thank God I knew astrology at the time. And here I am coming out into the light. And now I have clients and I have a partner. So yeah, I've done many transitions in my life at age 64, where I find myself now. And each transition has catapulted me into my next chapter, which is why I feel young every day, because I feel like I'm doing something that's important for me, but it's important for the world and the people that I engage with. Number 1B. Because it has to be important for me. Are we on a mission, or do we have a job? 2 things. Mm-hmm. Which one is it? Because a job is a 9 to 5, and there are people, come on, let's give it to the job, the people that have jobs, that really feel that their worthiness is to have a 9 to 5 job. These are our employees. We need them, right? We need to they need to find fulfillment in their, that may not be their number 1 thing to do. Having children, a home, a garden, friends, philanthropies. They might have other missions in life. So it's not everybody that has a career orientation, a true mission to help other people through their career.
And so I think
Mine is.
Mhm.
Allison, yours is. Alex, yours is. And your listeners, Allison, they wouldn't be here.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't be your followers if they did not have a mission.
I've done the corporate. I've really tried hard. I really tried hard to fit into, and even the last when I was leaving my last company and had a meeting with the two CEOs to share quickly when they hired me. So when they hired me on the first day, and I was signing the contract with my last corporate position as a software developer, one of the CEOs looked me straight in the eye and he said, "One day I'm going to be signing a contract working for you. I know you're signing this contract working for me today, but I just want you to be aware of that." And I was like, come on, dude. What are you talking about? And I shook his hand. I'm like, I just want to coast right now. I don't want to go into this with you. But I didn't ever forget his words, and he was extremely intense. He had a lot of great intention behind what he said. And then when I was leaving the company, when it felt right, he said, "I want to give you, I knew this day was coming. I would really like you to stay, but I want to give you a runway because you're supposed to be a CEO like me, like you just are. And I can't deny that.
Oh, wow.
And I want to give you this runway. I want to give you this amount of money." And then they even added more money to it when I was leaving, because how hard I worked, and I will work overtime, and I didn't take any vacation days, and I just wanted to soak in all the knowledge from my team lead. And I did really love my coworkers, and I did love the side of kind of more coasting and having energy to devote in other areas. I'm not meant to coast. I'm not meant to do that. And he was able to see that from the first day, even that I signed the contract. And I feel really grateful for that. I have had a lot of resistance sometimes, and why can't I just be like a person, that B person that I'm analyzing? Why can't I just do that? So I do think when people see their charts and they can have that reaffirmed, I don't need to be like my brother, or I don't need to be like my sister, or I don't have to be like this person that I saw as an example growing up. I am uniquely designed, perhaps made up in a unique way or in a different way.
Yes. And that's always, what I've said about astrology readings is that they're not scary. They're not going to tell you that you're like totally wrong with how you're living. They're going to do two things. They're going to validate you where you're at, what's going on, you're not crazy. And two, they're going to motivate you because there's things coming up that are kind of unknown, but there's this general idea of what it could possibly be. And that's just exciting. I mean, if somebody says like, "Oh, I got a surprise for you," your mind starts going. You're like, "Oh my gosh, what is it? What could it be? I'm getting so excited." So that's that motivation there. And I love what you just said, that is so true. You don't have to be like anyone else because there is no one like you. Yes.
Well, and then, I believe as an astrologer that we pick our charts. I believe that we've picked our parents, whether it was for, a happy childhood or a dysfunctional childhood. The part is you decided to come down here to earth, right? That's what the first thing. You're up in spirit. I believe you've lived many, many lives, and you decide to come back down to do some bigger transformation. And you get here as a baby and you forgot, because you have to be taken care of. You got to be fed, you got to be diapered, you got to be cradled. And you forgot what you came down here for. And, we're not Benjamin Buttons that we can come in remembering and then going back the opposite way. That this is this evolution of our lives, that we know two people, not even twins, no two people have the same chart. And, makes you scratch your chin to say, that is so weird. And you start growing up and why one likes to climb trees and one likes to sit in front of computers. One likes to be loud and one likes to smile, right? Because we are on our trajectory. We're on it the second we're born. But to know that, and that this is the astrology. This is the astrology of the energy of the moment of your birth that coincides with who you are, your character, how you love, what gives you motivation, how you cry, when you cry, your personal appearance, right, is all blended in this cellular, matrix of, it's hard to explain what really this is, but it is your natal chart. And I use that, as an astrologer. I do readings as well, and talk about, the past, the natal chart, some situations that are coming up for you, when to hold, when to go forward, when it's a time of abundance, and when is it a time to rebuild, right? Because we all go through. I mean, how many rebuilds have you done, Allison? Right?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, we're supposed to, because we gain from that information. We've gotten that much from that morsel. Some of it we got to spit out. Some of it we got to keep, and then we move on to the next rung. And some of it, sometimes it's lateral. That's fine. Sometimes we got to take a step down to gain some new skills. But the whole purpose is that we live our life fulfilled.
Right. Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, if I reflect, I grew up with one sibling and we were in the same house, and I did ask myself that question a lot of times: why did I make X choice and he didn't pursue that same choice when he was growing up, or when he was a kid, for example, to have a lemonade stand or to have a little business when I was in elementary school? Why didn't he feel, why was that not necessarily an interest for him? Or and I like how you brought up that point, that even you grow up in the same house, you have the same parents, you do the same sports or the same extracurricular activities, you're always going to have different kind of experiences that are coming from yourself, of how you then view the outside world or the perspective.
It's true. And when we can be aware of that and understand who we are, we can move through our trials, our tribulations, our highs, our benefic times, with a smile on our face, even if we're going through some restriction. We didn't come down here to have a wonderful hell of a time where we didn't care about anything. And the things that we care about sometimes do take a struggle. And so, that's part of our growth and our evolution here on this planet. We talked about currency. And I think this is a really good time to bring up the fact that, currency is two things. It's money, it's energy. And, it's really hard as a creative to put a dollar amount on an item, a service, a project, some sort of product maybe, because you made it up, right? Now, where did that made up thing come from? Well, it came from something. I mean, where did that dropped in from? A past life, an idea, the light bulbs in the comic strips. Those are real things.
Right. And it could have even come from experience and awareness of a need of, a way to help others.
It's called inventive. Allison and Alexandra, both of you have your Mercury in Aquarius. This is that inventive power that you have, that when you drop in an idea, if it's interesting and curious enough for you to go down that rabbit hole to find out how that can work for the two of you, and certainly to do things online, but to be the inventor and to understand how things work and how things can work for the community. You're both about coming up with ideas for the community.
And what I also love too is that the three of us are also all Pisces, sun sign and Pisces too. And I love that. I love that we all have that in common. And Allison, you and I both have our same Mercury. So it's kind of the way that we communicate, the way that we want to even conduct business. Mercury is the one that rules commerce. So it's the trade. And even talking about currency and, you know, how does an entrepreneur really know how much to charge and how much to, you know, how much to ask for. I think it's a huge thing of sustainability and not necessarily sacrificing yourself too much, because if you're sacrificing yourself, you will not have the ability to provide the amount of work to provide the quality of work that you want. So it's about finding that happy medium of where you're happy, the customer's happy, and you feel like you're not sacrificing, you know, all of you for someone else's business or for someone else's benefit.
I mean, let's face it. I don't live in a world where I get free electricity, free housing, free clothes, free food. No one does. So we all have a responsibility to take care of ourselves and our family and our needs and, you know, our wants. And when we're in an entrepreneurial position, we chose that. And yes, there might be some, you know, initial timing where it's like, I need to build this. I don't know my costs yet. I've got this idea. I got to do some research, and then I got to build my client work or my product or, but there becomes a time, and it's got to happen sooner than later. Because the only way, like you said, Alex, to sustain something is to get the amount of energy back to you that you've given out. And I call that current energy currency. And when I'm making sales and then somebody's buying my bracelet, which is not, you know, it's not cheap, but the energy is not cheap. And so when somebody asks for a discount, I feel like, oh my gosh, they can't afford this, or are they just trying to, you know, work me? And I said, you know what, I'm sorry. I would hate for you to have a discounted product. So if you want to discount in the currency of energy exchange, you're not going to get what you think you're going to get. And I'm sorry, I don't do that.
I like that answer. Yeah.
You know, and I mean, you have to say it very pleasantly, because they could feel like they could maybe see it as a pushback with your hand up. But if you said, you know what, oh my gosh, you know, I understand. This has an immense amount of my personal energy involved, and this is the amount of currency energy, and I call it energy currency. So I said, if you give me your plastic currency, their credit card. So if you give me your plastic currency, I will give you the energy currency of the exact match to what it is you are giving me. It has to be that. I have gone at my age, it has to be that. I've built my big business because I had 40 employees to pay. I had rent. I had, you know, new projects, always that new thing coming in. Marketing. I mean, come on, we know. If you don't get the exact amount, now, you know, yes, there can be VIP clients. I don't do it in astrology world. Everybody is the same. And you will get your client that respects that in you. And those are the people you want.
For sure.
You don't want people that want something for nothing. They will get nothing. You don't have nothing to sell. You have something.
It's the best advice. Yeah. Really like that. And as we are hopping off, I want to let our listeners know, how can they reach you? What's the best way for them to be able to reach you guys?
I'll take that question. Okay. That's good for me. Of course, our website is intentionbeads.com. There is all of our talismans there, more information on our podcast, on our retreats, on readings. We also have all of our social media platforms. We have Instagram, Facebook, And yeah, those are going to be the best ways. Also, if you're just like a direct one-to-one type of person, and a lot of our clients are, email me info@intentionbeads.com. I'll point you in the right direction. It's very easy for us to, for people to get in contact with us. We're good at that.
We're very personal. We're very personal. I mean, I have my cell phone number on my business cards. I want people to get a hold of me. I am available. I am available.
Wow. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks. We loved it.